Welcome one and all to Umami Manga. I'm Petter, and with me I got James.
Hello.
And today we're talking about Volume 3 of Spy Family. And before we get into any of the character discussions for this episode, we would just like to point out that, mention that since we recorded the previous discussion, the one where we talked about Volume 2, an anime adaptation has been announced. Wow, because when we were talking about that even in our first volume discussion, like, oh my god, well, what if they do an anime? It would be so cool.
Yeah.
And now they have announced it. So all of these episodes will have released after that announcement, however. So to anyone who listened to the first two volume discussions of this and thought we had missed that, then you know that we had recorded those before that. So that's sort of yeah, just so you know. But oh my god, that teaser trailer got me so hyped.
Right? Oh my gosh. It looks so great. And I know it's a teaser, and maybe sometimes teaser can be deceiving, but I think the team they got working on it, Wit and Cloverworks,
Yeah.
The combined effort is going to be fantastic in my opinion. I think both their highs are exceptional.
Absolutely.
And together I think they could come up with a great product.
Yeah. Sounds really promising. And yeah, I just can't wait for next year. Next year is going to be so great. We're going to get the first season, well, potentially if there's going to be more. We're going to get the first season of Spy Family. We're going to get the second season of To Your Eternity. We're going to get the third season of Kaguya-sama Love is War. And we're going to get the continuation for the fourth season of Attack on Titan.
Oh my gosh.
Like, what? Everything that we talked about on our podcasts are getting their like continued or first anime adaptations next year.
2022 is umami anime.
Yeah, it is. Totally is.
Or maybe umami manga anime?
Yeah.
Anyway. No, so yeah, super excited for Spy Family and all those shows. 2022 is going to be great. And I think this will be one of those shows where anybody can watch and enjoy. It's not just the weebs, I guess you could say. And I feel that way about many of the shows. Well, I think Kaguya-sama maybe you show that maybe your parents would enjoy it. But I think Spy Family is pretty wholesome fun for everyone, and
fun for the whole family.
Just like Attack on Titan. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, it's gonna be so great. But I guess without further ado, let's get into the characters of Volume 3 of this series. And I guess we'll continue to start with Loid, Forger, Twilight. I thought it was really nice to see how he was able to deduce that Yuri worked for the SSS.
Yeah.
Or it was interesting. And so he has that knowledge now without really any of those other like adult characters in that scene. No one else really knows anybody else's secret other than Twilight was able to figure out Yuri's.
Mm-hmm. Which is kind of, it makes me surprised that he hasn't figured out there's something up with Yor. And hear me out. Just I understand like he was very clever with figuring out who Yuri is, and obviously he's a veteran spy, and so his intelligence is able to help him out with that. But with Yor, she obviously shows signs of incredible strength and skill. Granted, she was drunk in some of those cases, but he's seen her do some pretty incredible things.
Yes.
And I wonder why he hasn't. I guess there was a bit of suspicion in this volume, wasn't there?
That's true. There was.
But that was more about her brother being secret police, and less so about her potentially being something else. So maybe either Loid is getting softer in that section, or maybe just yours kind of secret identity kind of thing is just good enough to fool the greatest spy there is.
Right. Yeah, it's really interesting. Actually, now that you bring this up, because this isn't something I had really thought of before, but it reminds me, not reminds me is the wrong word perhaps, but it makes me think of Chika Fujiwara from Love is War. because it's basically it's like because both she and Yor have this sort of unpredictability about them, or like their dim-wittedness that makes them
Hmm.
hard to comprehend, in a sense. I could see it being something like that.
Oh, okay. Actually, I didn't think that's where you were going with it, but I do see that. I do definitely see that point where they're kind of unpredictable in
Right.
that sense.
Uh-huh.
The way when you said that, the way I thought was how Chica's supposed to be the love detective, and yet,
Ah,
she can't figure out a certain thing. Trying to hide spoilers there.
right,
Um,
right.
and you go to Loid, who's supposed to be this great spy, and maybe sniff out other potential enemies, and he can't figure out who, you know, a great assassin that's right in front of him. Um,
Yeah. I mean, yeah, right,
so
exactly. Could be something like that too.
I don't know.
But yeah, it's
Yeah,
fun.
I mean, in the grand scheme of things, it's just this whole tension, or well, it's not really tension. It's tension for the reader because
Hmm.
and Anya, because we both know that who they are.
Right.
It's just a matter of time before they find out. Yeah, so it's interesting.
Then more on Loid or Twilight. Well, he was totally lying when he proclaimed how much he loves Yor, and he said all the things that he would do for her.
Yeah.
He
Hmm.
definitely was lying there. Even the narration specified that. Still, later on in that scene, he felt envious of the bond that Yor and Yuri share as siblings.
Yeah.
And I feel like, or at least a big part of me hopes that this bit means that he will develop real feelings for her eventually. He wants, to form some sort of strong bond with her. I'm hoping,
Hmm.
and obviously it might not be that way right now, but these envious feelings might be a sign for that.
Nice. I'm behind that. I think that it is um, telling of what his feelings are, his true feelings are when you know he sees them and he kind of feels envious. And I think
Mm-hmm.
he's kind of this person that has put the burden of the world on his shoulder and is not really opening up his heart, or letting his own desires really have a play in things. Yes, he wants to be a great spy. Yes, he wants to protect the world, but I think deep down he's always wanted a family. He's always wanted, the relationship that Yor and Yuri have, that
Right.
he just either had and lost or never really had. So, yeah, I think that I agree with you that that is definitely a desire of his, and secretly he has it.
Yeah.
He just has got to maybe open up and or maybe he has to realize it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, but I think you're right too. He needs to sort of open up his heart more and like be more
Yeah.
well open-minded as well, perhaps to these sorts of things.
Yeah. Yeah.
His speech to Yor about acting as yourself instead of
Mm.
who society wants you to be, essentially,
Mhm.
that was one of the or to me one of the most beautiful scenes in this book. I thought that was really,
Agreed. Mhm.
it's so true and good, and like it's a wisdom that, well, I think Yor really needed to hear at the time, and it's just something that, well, it's good to know, or to, yeah, to have that wisdom in general.
You could even call it a bit hypocritical in that
Yeah.
he himself wears many faces and has to have many personalities. So he needs to also kind of let go of the facade and just
Hmm.
let himself be himself.
Absolutely.
Um, and he's not there yet, obviously, because this is all he's doing is supposedly about his mission. And there are times where he's doing things from the goodness of his heart, obviously, but it's all for the good of the mission. The moment that he's able to do something like spend time with Yor or spend time with Anya, and it's not this will help my mission, that's when he'll be able to truly be himself, I feel.
Yeah, I hope so. Really hope so. And I guess on the topic that I was on a little bit earlier about how, well, him obviously not, perhaps not having feelings at the moment for your, but
Hmm.
that he might get it later on. when she told him that she's happy that she married him,
Yeah.
he definitely looked a bit flustered when she told him that. So I thought that was a nice reaction to get from him, since he doesn't usually show those sorts of reactions, I suppose.
It's true. And even before that, when they had basically cleared her of any suspicions, uh, Scruffy was all like, are you feeling bad about what you just did?" Um, his name is Franky, but I like calling him Scruffy.
Yeah, oh, totally. I know what you mean.
You don't really see Lloyd's face, but I think there's some truth that I bet he felt bad for what he did, which is probably new for a veteran spy like him. And we, at the very first volume, we saw him basically toy with a woman's heart, and she turned out to be a terrible person. But I mean, he didn't care. Like, he didn't feel bad about basically dumping her like that, leading her on.
Right.
But in this case, I guess he did. I mean, I'd feel bad.
Yeah, right, exactly. And the fact that he does, I think, says a lot.
Yeah.
Like, it says even more than if, like, for most other characters in that situation, just because because of what we know about him. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think that's the start of some feelings growing.
Yeah.
Whether it be romantic, which I'm sure it will go at some point. I mean, come on, or it just be kind of camaraderie, or I just care about this person.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever feeling it may be, it's definitely a new kind of feeling for Twilight.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So exciting.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess continuing on that, how he sort of opens up, or how he feels things that are nice in that kind of way. Near the end of the story, when Anya got the Stella Star, he was really proud of her, like sort of as a real father would be.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was also super nice to see that.
Mm-hmm. Good father-daughter moment.
Yeah. What more on Loid?
I really don't have much. This volume, I had a lot of comedy points because I just thought this volume was hilarious.
I think I took more comedy notes for this one than I did for any of the first two.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I guess we'll get there. But for now, let's move on to Anya Forger then, or should I say Starlight Anya?
Thank you. This is getting old quick.
Yeah. But yeah, she got a Stella Star. She was the first in her grade to get it, and potentially even the first one, like the quickest to ever get a Stella Star, like in the history of Eden Academy.
Yeah.
So that's a great feat.
Do you remember how in our last discussion I was saying that she would get stars and get into that society in unexpected ways? Unexpected ways. I think this is happening. Like, yes. I think I was kind of spot on that.
I think so. Yes.
At least with this star. I don't know how it will go forward, but I still think it's going to be in ways that Loid himself can't predict.
Right.
And despite all of his efforts, which was happening in that chapter, he was trying all sorts of things. Anya's going to Anya. And I think what's important for Anya right now is understanding that her telepathy and just who she is can be used to help other people.
Yeah.
And can be used as a tool for good.
For sure.
Which I think was a great lesson for her to learn, and also a great boost to her self-esteem.
Totally. I mean, she saved a person's life.
Yeah.
Like, that boy was definitely going to die from drowning if she hadn't intervened there. So, I mean, that's a massive thing that she did. So, I guess earlier in the volume, I thought it was super cute to see how Anya was sort of trying to make Loid and Yor, get along better. Because Loid was suspecting Yor, and Yor was also a bit upset after Yuri had been there. And she, like, before she got on the bus, she told them that they should get along. And, like, I just thought that was a super sweet little moment. And I guess this is mostly a funny thing, but I'll mention it here because it happened right after that, was when she got on the bus. It looks like she's, like, almost, like, climbing onto it because she's so small. Because, like, she puts, like, her knee, like, really high in order to, like, take the first step onto the bus. It looked really funny.
It's very cute.
It's, yeah, so cute. So it turns out that Anya is a manga fan too. Just like us.
Oh, weeb!
Yes.
You're an otaku! You're an otaku!
For anyone who didn't laugh at that, you probably would have if you read Kaguya-sama.
I wonder if that's just... I mean, you would think they would have translated it into English just like comics, but maybe it really was just Japanese manga right there
Oh
in
yeah.
the library.
Oh yeah, right. I like to think so. And I also really loved the times in this book when Anya imagined like some really easy way to befriend Damian and how that would lead to
Yeah.
to the world being saved. I think it happened twice. It was probably the same chapter.
Yeah.
And it was just obviously it never happened. Like it didn't go at all as she imagined. But I just thought it was so funny and so realistic. Also for like a child to think, oh, this can't be that hard. Obviously, like if this thing happened, then yeah, we'll save the world. But yeah.
Illusions of grandeur. I am very familiar with those. I like to call them delusions of grandeur. But anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's very sweet that, she's always constantly thinking about fulfilling her papa's mission.
Mm-hmm.
And that makes me wonder what would happen if her plans were suddenly come to fruition. And I'll save that for my predictions section.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
That's something to kind of gnaw on a little bit.
Gotcha. Then shall we move on to Your Forger next?
Oh yes, baby, let's do it.
Let's do it.
I think we get confirmation that she started the assassination gig at a young age, or at least younger than you would think. Really, probably maybe around at the latest high school age.
At the latest, I would say probably also say yeah.
Yeah, at the latest. I mean, it could be as early as 5th or 6th grade, maybe.
Right.
Or who knows? Because she's 7 years older than Yuri, right? Her brother.
Yes.
So, he's doing fractions. You just kind of guess that could potentially be where she is in terms of grade school. But anyway,
Yeah.
it's just surprising to see her run home and she's covered in blood.
Yeah.
Yeah, not something you would expect to see from a preteen.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so that's kind of shocking, but funny, but also sad.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited to see what her backstory ends up being. Like, we're getting these bits and pieces, but to me, I think it's leading up to a moment where we'll understand who this shopkeeper is and why she has this job to begin with, and when that all started.
Yeah.
I mean, I imagine she got the job in order to support their family. Like there's no question in my mind that's the reason. But how does she suddenly get employed into all this? Did someone just see her on the street and was like, you would make a great murderer?
Exactly. Yeah. How does one fall into that sort of?
Cuts himself. What does this make you feel? Do you feel excited? You may be an assassin.
Oh no.
Just walk away, honey. See, that's why you need a parent figure, because you get weirdos like anyway.
Yeah, I mean, about what you were saying though earlier about how we got to see these scenes about how she started at a very young age and she would come home to her brother covered in blood. I thought it was very interesting how even though Yuri has seen her that way ever since they were both kids, he still doesn't really seem to suspect that she does anything like that, apparently.
Yeah. So there's a reason behind that.
You think?
Briar family.
Okay.
It's genetics. Yeah. They are oblivious.
You're so right.
Which is pretty ironic for the fact that he's an interrogator, like
right.
to to him in your to share that quality is quite funny. But to be fair, I'm sorry, I got something in my throat.
Oh no, don't die.
Oh no, I won't die. It's just I won't die yet. You can't get rid of me like that, Petter.
Oh no.
Something on the wrong pipe. I think it's just when dealing with his sister, he loses all reason. But anyway, I'm kind of jumping the gun here. So
Right. No, but it is funny, and I mean, it was also great to see, when Yor seemed to, well, or when Yuri came to visit, and Yor had this, or she seemed to have this amazing idea how to explain to her brother, like, why she hadn't told him about that they've been married for a whole year, and all she said was, "I forgot," and Yuri bought it.
I mean, that's the perfect excuse. Like, what more could you want? I forgot. Oh, silly. Oh well, that happens.
Yeah.
I wrote this in comedy, but I particularly like the part where she's like, I forgot that I had forgotten to tell you.
Exactly. Yes, that was also great. Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, you.
And I like that sort of makes sense too. Because I mean, if you can forget, if you're capable of forgetting to tell your sibling that you've gotten married, if that's a possibility, then surely it's possible to forget that you've forgotten to tell them.
I mean, sure.
It adds up.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, more on Yor. She started blushing rather a lot when Loid told Yuri how much he loves her. Well, we talked about that a little bit earlier when we were talking about Loid, about how he probably didn't mean any of those things, but Yor was definitely blushing rather a lot when he said that, and well, I don't know. Does that point at maybe some feelings potentially there, or maybe she was just feeling embarrassed? What do you think?
Yeah, well, there's definitely some embarrassment in there, but I think it's kind of a romantic thing to say.
Yeah.
I think Yor definitely yearns for that kind of relationship, but she doesn't have the experience or the, I guess, people skills to pursue that kind of relationship. Hence, why she's in this situation. So I think in this case, it's hearing him say that, yeah, is gonna make her a little flustered and, make her feel things. And I also, I mean, I'm not gonna say that she's in love with Loid,
Right.
but
yeah.
I do think that there are feelings there, especially when it's coming from a handsome man who is who I guess in technicality is your husband. Then yeah, I think it all obviously makes sense, and I don't blame her for feeling that way. And
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, totally, it's definitely a good sign, needless to say.
Absolutely. And I guess we get more hard confirmation than we had gotten in the first two books in this one that she is indeed a bad cook. Or at least Anya thinks so, or she says so when they're having breakfast. So I guess that's confirmed now at the very least.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I saw some of those fish heads and whatnot. She has no idea what she's doing. Which is kind of part of the reason why she was down in the dumps in this volume.
Right.
She felt like she just wasn't an adequate wife.
Mm.
But it's actually pretty funny when she. Is it the same type of chapter she gets the star, I think? Yours like, or when Anya gets a star, yours like, oh, I'm going to go cook something. It's like, I'd rather have Dad cook something.
Yeah, that's right. She's just shocked. Yeah.
I mean, what do you care? Anya, what do you care? Just eat a peanut. You'll be happy.
Right.
All you have to do, is give her a peanut, and you'll be good.
A year worth of peanuts. That's her reward.
Hey, a peanut is what is choking me right now. So, peanuts are not all benevolent like you think, Anya. Some people die from peanut allergies. Some people get choked by peanuts.
Right? Yeah. There's all sorts of ways to kill people with peanuts.
So her life as an assassin begins. Oh my gosh, that's right. She made a peanut bomb.
Oh my god, you're right. Oh my god, what if that guy was allergic to peanuts? He could have legit died there. What if that was her intention? No. But
whoa.
We're talking for anyone who might be confused, because I don't know if everyone considers the extra chapter a chapter, but we're talking about the extra chapter right there because there's like the peanut bomb there. But anyway, yeah. Actually, speaking of the extra chapter, Yor takes the gunshot to the butt in that one, which was pretty funny, and obviously that gave way for the whole chapter to happen, with all of the comedy that came from that. But then I thought like one of my favorite parts was when she drank the fugu or the blowfish poison, which should kill a person. but yeah,
but not this one.
She's too hard or too strong. It just acted as a painkiller for her.
Yeah, so I guess she just has this poison immunity. I guess she's not impervious to all poison. I don't think the volume goes about to say that, but it's going to take something even stronger than the fugu's poison to kill her.
Yeah, her tolerance is definitely higher than most other people, apparently.
When she says, "I'm really glad I married you, Loid," it's like, oh, I'm surprised she didn't get like shy or flustered that she said that.
Oh yeah,
I mean that's pretty. It's pretty bold to say because they know they're in a fake marriage, like
right.
And so to her to say that is, I don't know, kind of bold, but
it is, honestly.
But I get, but also true. Anyway, I thought that was really cute and a nice moment between them, and then they're kind of celebrating their anniversary with cake, and I just thought that was so wholesome. I mean, this Mr.
Totally.
Tough spy guy is all like, "Hey, let's celebrate our anniversary," and yours. It's like, yeah, let's do it. It's great. I was like, oh my god.
Yes.
You two should kiss.
Yeah, right. Everybody thinks so. Even Yuri thought so for a while. But yes.
So I take it back. I take it back.
Should we move on to Yuri then?
Sure.
All right.
He just can't hide his interrogative nature.
Yeah, he was honestly really bad at that.
I guess you chalk it up to being a young amateur, but
True.
He gets in that situation and basically as soon as he can just starts drilling them, and it's obviously in the same vein as he would interrogate a suspect.
For sure.
So.
Yeah, and he made a lot of like intense sort of faces during that which he definitely didn't hide his his feelings, I suppose.
Yeah, definitely wears them on his sleeve.
For sure.
Comes with his sister.
Yeah, right. Especially after he had some to drink. And oh my god, he like his locker, like the inside of it, like full of photos of Yor and hearts and stuff. Like,
oh my gosh, wait a minute. I don't know if I really looked at that.
Oh, did you miss that? Oh my god. Oh, let me see.
I'm ashamed.
It's.
Is it 16?
14.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Mission 14. Yes, exactly. Pretty early in Mission 14. It's like the inside of the actual locker and the inside of the door. Like it's just a bunch of pictures of Yor and like hearts and things.
Yeah, so I see. Yeah, I see one shot where, there's a heart and some pictures of Yor, and then there's a pretty big poster.
Is that the page after Anya gets on the bus?
No, it is not.
Wait, okay, then we're on different places. Where are you?
Yeah, let me.
Oh, you're 2 pages after I'm at. I see. Yeah. There is a big poster. Oh my god!
It's on the other side. It's like a big poster of her face.
Yes, you're right. Like you can see her. Like it's like you just see the side of it. Oh my god.
Yeah, but the panel you're referring to has a lot of creepy stuff too.
Right. Yeah. Like you really see like a bunch of photos and hearts and like her name written and. It's insane.
Yeah.
Uh,
He.
Definitely a bit creepy.
Yeah. I could see
Uh,
why the her yours lady coworkers were like pass on him.
Even though they never, I mean, they probably don't know him that well,
No,
but
they don't. But they were just like, he's a syscon. Got it. Yeah, not gonna deal with
yeah,
that.
their intuition was pretty good. Yeah.
Although, to be fair, I don't think he should go out with those women. They're kind of terrible anyway.
Yeah, yeah. Most of them
Especially that
seem.
one.
Yeah, especially Millie, right?
Yeah.
But but yes. I mean, we knew he was obsessed with her,
Of
but
course, we knew
to see
this.
this, it just kind of just brings it into a new light, kind of.
He's not really hiding it.
Oh no, oh no, not at all. Anything more on him?
Yeah. The kiss that Yor gives him when he was younger,
Oh yeah,
just on the cheek, that awakened something inside of him. The awakening.
Sure did.
Oh no, Yor, what have you done? Actually, it's not her. It's not her fault. Like how Come on.
Yeah.
So in that scene where you have the locker, I think it's the last thing that Yuri says is something along the lines of, if he makes Yuri cry, I won't forgive him, or I'll do something.
Yeah, if he makes your cry, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, did I say Yuri? I meant Yor.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just wonder if is that supposed to be foreshadowing, maybe?
Yeah, I had a similar because he said it also earlier in the scene when he was still at their place, I think.
Right.
So yeah, it definitely seemed interesting.
Could it just be foreshadowing to literally the next panel or the next
Right.
scene where you have her crying about being a terrible wife?
Mm-hmm.
Or you know, could it could it be something along the future where something happens between them?
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, I also had those questions, I suppose. I sort of hope for that because it would be a cool foreshadowing for something that could happen way later down the line, and it would also probably mean, like, I guess if something like that happened, I think it could bring more drama, like more actual, I guess, like
Yeah.
more interesting depth to the story that maybe more so than we've gotten so far, I guess.
Another layer wouldn't be bad.
Right,
For
right.
sure. But if it's just you're cutting onions and crying, like, come on.
Oh yeah, it's like, yeah. Loid asks her, like, yeah, could you cut the onions this time, and that makes her cry. Then yeah, technically he made her cry.
Right? And he walks in on it, or Yuri walks in on it, is like,
Uh,
that's it. I'm killing this man. This man's a dead man.
The thing is, with the silly nature that this manga sometimes has, I definitely could see that being the case. But I sort of hope that won't be it.
I mean, I wouldn't mind that, and then you get an actual part where,
Oh yeah.
Loid makes her cry in some case. But,
Mm.
I just wonder what that could be. Like, maybe it would be like I had theorized before, a moment where they have to take each other out, like,
Right.
not like on a date, but, as assassins and spy.
Uh-huh.
And maybe Yor just gets so emotional about it and she just can't handle it, and then maybe that makes her cry.
Precisely.
Because I just don't see her getting her heart broken or something like that in a way that, like Lloyd cheats on her, or Lloyd said something mean, or
Right. I mean,
something like that.
I suppose. Well, yeah, I do agree with you there. Although I still feel like it doesn't need to be like a confrontation thing, like take each other out confrontation thing necessarily. Uh,
Hmm.
it only really takes for her to learn that he isn't who he's been saying he is.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Or
yeah, yeah, yeah.
potentially, if she just learned that everything that he's been being and saying and doing, if she learns that that's all been a lie,
Yeah.
especially if a long time has passed potentially. If it happens later on, I'm sure that could hurt a person.
I'm down with that.
Like that's not his daughter, and that's not his job, and like various things like that.
You know, if yeah, well, she finds out that he's a spy, then
Yeah.
she would have to question all of those potential feelings that maybe she thought he had for her and Anya.
Exactly.
Right. So it's not so
Yeah.
much.
Oh my
maybe it's
God.
not so much that. Maybe it's not so much that he lied to me, and more like this whole situation really is fake. Like there's nothing about that that's real, and maybe that's what gets her upset.
And dude, even and what you said, or it made me think how, let's say, like, well, obviously she and Anya are forming a bond, and that's a very real bond from both of them. Like, neither of them is really holding anything back. Like Twilight is definitely holding at least back to some degree. And let's say she and Anya get like very, very close, which I mean, they really already are pretty close, but they could get even closer, and then Yor finds out that Twilight isn't who he supposedly was. Then even if she doesn't get mad for her own sake, she could get mad for Anya's sake.
Oh. Yeah.
And that could also cause some interesting scenes, I'm sure.
And when we see Yor getting mad, oh man, the gates of hell open right up, my friend.
They do. Yeah. Oh my God, we've been talking a lot about Yor. I feel we're technically on Yuri. I forgot we were talking about Yuri.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, look, you can't talk about Yuri without talking about Yor. Honestly, Yuri would want it that way, or Yuri would want it that way. You know?
True. You're right. You're absolutely right.
He's like, what? About time people start talking about Yor, my sister. Gosh.
Yeah. Yes, but anything more on, I guess, either of them?
No.
All right, then moving on to Franky.
Scruffy.
He was really digging that handsome face he wore, and he was hoping to get some action wearing it.
I guess I don't blame him. Hey, plastic surgery is a thing.
I guess.
Then again, there was probably no commitment attached to it, you know.
Right. I just thought it was funny in a very sad way. Yeah. But in that extra mission, he was so sweet with Anya, like how he went on that little, well, they were shadowing Loid and Yor on their date, and how he went with her for that, and even after he suggested they just go back home, but Anya wanted to infiltrate the building, he went on with that, and they went into like the air ventilation system or whatever, and they crawled around there, and after she went off on her own and did the whole peanut bomb thing, he, when he mentioned, or right before he noticed that she was gone, he was suggesting that he would like lower her down on a wire above their table where they were sitting. I just thought that was so funny, and it just sort of, it makes me love Franky even more, because it sort of shows how playful he is and how good he is with a child like Anya. Like, that's totally something that she would enjoy if she had been there when he said that. Obviously she had already left, but yeah, I thought that was so nice. That's
true. My other thought about that is like, man, remind me never to go spying with Franky. Like, he may have the gadgets, but he'll stick out like a sore thumb.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, the whole like lowering down on the scaffold thing. You don't do that when you have people below you. They'll totally be able to see you.
Yeah, and obviously, yeah, it's really funny in that way. I also thought it was a nice nod to the first Mission Impossible movie. At least I think it's the first Mission Impossible movie where there's two guys that do that. Like, one guy lowering another guy down in a room where you can't be on the floor and you have to like get something from the room. It's like a really suspenseful scene. But I feel like it was a nod to that. But yeah.
I mean, it's a pretty spy thing to do. I'll admit.
That is fair. That's fair. We're on Scruffy.
I don't got anything else.
All right, then Moving on to Damian Desmond.
I'm telling you, there's more to this kid than meets the eye. Like,
Right, dude. I think so too.
I, I know he's supposed to be the jerk character and everything like that, but even the previous volume, I was feeling like, hey, this is a character who's going to have some major character development,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, he may be still a snob by the end, but I think he's going to open up a lot, and
Yeah.
especially be kinder to Anya, and I think he's
Right.
going to have a great friendship with her eventually, and I think you start seeing those moments where he makes better decisions, less selfish decisions.
Right. Right. Like during the dodgeball scene.
Yeah, during the dodgeball scene, particularly.
Uh,
And I think you could just see that who he is the product of the family that he comes from,
for sure.
and the circumstances he's been placed in.
Yeah, he's definitely in a sad situation, I think, because like he feels like he has to become an imperial scholar, just like his brother did, or
Mm-hmm.
else he won't like get respect from his dad. And that's obviously a very sad situation. And like for a child to feel that kind of pressure,
Yeah,
basically from their parent, is it's I mean it's a form of abuse, I would say,
yeah,
and it's definitely bad.
I agree. And you could also say that him and Anya have that in common, in that they're both trying to reach a certain goal, a certain place, in order
Mm.
to, um, please their father figures.
True. Yeah.
However, there is a difference in that
Yeah.
I feel in the end Loid will have much more real love than say Desmond, Damian's dad.
Yeah.
But I mean, maybe we'll be surprised and he just adores his son no matter what, and maybe Damian is the one who um, needs to figure that out. But uh, who knows? But
Mm.
either way, I think that him and Anya have that in common, and maybe they'll come to realize that going forward.
Right. That should be fun. Yeah, I'm super excited for his character development in general because I am a sucker for, I guess, redemption story arcs for characters.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Uh, Definitely big sucker for that, and I feel like that's what we'll probably get eventually from Damien.
Mm-hmm.
Then should we move on to the next one?
Sure.
I only have any notes for one more character, and that's for Henderson, and it was just how impressed he was by Anya's elegant dodges during the dodgeball game.
They were elegant.
They were very elegant until the last one where she suddenly just uh, took the hit. But yeah. I don't have anything really for any other actual characters here, though. What about you?
Not a character per se, but the beginning of the volume starts off with a narrator just kind of setting up the premise of the story a bit,
Oh
and
yeah.
mentions whys and everything. And it's not the first time we've had a narrator, but for some reason I thought, wait, is this narrator a figure in the story, or are they just like,
Mm,
are they just Mr. Narrator?
right. Right. Interesting. Yeah.
It probably is just Mr. Narrator, but I was wondering if it was someone who he was part of the Wise team. Maybe like the head honcho or whatever. Not
Mm,
not that he's telling a story, but he's just saying, this is why we need Wise. This is why we need this mission to succeed, and
yeah.
our hope rests with them, kind
Yeah.
of a thing.
Right. Definitely could be. And actually, speaking of that, it also gave us a little bit of a backstory, sort of, for the state of the world right now, because it says
True.
that over a decade after the Iron Curtain severed the East from the West, or that, yeah, that's kind of what it says at the beginning, sort of as to
Mm-hmm.
where the story takes place. So it's been a bit over 10 years since, I guess, the quote unquote Cold War began. Obviously, it's
Mm-hmm.
not exactly the Cold War, but it's something equivalent to it. So yeah, interesting to, I guess, to know that.
Speaking of the world, I gotta make travel plans to Hungary.
Oh yeah. Oh my God.
Go to
But
that
they they,
little cafe and
they missed. They skipped a letter, didn't they? It wasn't Hungary. It was like Hungary minus one of the letters.
Yeah. Hugaria. I
That's
totally
right.
messed up that. I totally messed up that joke. Hungary is an actual place, isn't it?
It is.
My bad. Darn. That was a failure on my part. Forgive me.
Hey,
I
it's an easy,
I'm
easy
very
mistake
I'm
to make.
very untraveled. At least, well, okay, I take that back. I'm very untraveled within Europe.
Right, and that only makes sense because you don't live in Europe.
But I've been to all sorts of other places.
Nice.
Anyway, it's like, wow, cool story, bro. Anyway,
Anyway, let's move on to the comedy discussion. So let me just kick it off by saying one thing. Bill Watkins, age 6.
oh my god,
That guy.
an early bloomer.
Like, I want to see more of him.
I actually, one of my favorite parts of him is is in one of the later chapters, and he's just in the background, and he sees Anya with the star, and he's just like, "She got one," or something
Oh,
something
yeah.
like that. He's just like this giant person, this giant man child, with all these other sixth graders in the background. Oh my god.
Oh my god, it was so funny. You see like someone catching that ball with one hand in one panel, and then the next panel you see this massive man, and then it says age 6. What the hell?
He wasn't held back or anything like that.
Yeah.
He's like,
Oh boy.
I haven't even hit puberty yet. Oh my gosh. He didn't say that, but
Yeah, he's just very mature for his age. Oh boy.
I I love the first chapter of this, and the banter between
Mhm.
just Yuri and, well, the first two chapters, I guess, with Yuri and Yor and Loid. It's pretty great. And
Yeah.
they're Yuri and Yor are having a moment, and he just comes in because he's serving food. He serves food, and then Yuri gets upset, and in his mind he's like, "Wait to interrupt when my sister and I are having a moment, you jerk!" It's like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, calm down. It's not like you're on a date or anything, man. Like,
Right.
jeez. And continue on with that. It's like, he calls you Yor, I call you Yor. We had some. That's what we had was special. What do you call him? Loidy, Loy. Like, I died. I died.
Yeah.
Freaking out like that.
And then when he got more drunk later on in that scene, he called Loid Loy, just like without thinking about it, just spontaneously he called him Loy. That was also great.
He's like, it's Loid.
And I guess the thing we mentioned a bit earlier about how, when Yuri was pressuring them into, well, to kiss, and Yor had to get herself drunk in order to do it, and eventually ending up slapping Yuri across the room. That was beautiful. That scene, and like the motion, like the action you could feel in that slap, and when
So
he was
good.
just flying across the room, and Anya woke up for a moment.
Oh my gosh, so great. Huh? Is your atomic bomb? Goes back to sleep.
I think was that all we got from Anya in like the first 2 chapters? Like, well, maybe not completely, but like pretty
except
much.
like one little bubble where she was just sleeping like in her nightgown.
Oh,
And that's it.
Right, yeah.
I love the line where he's drunk when he says this, but I could tell because you have a stupid liar face. It's like, oh, ooh, he's got him there.
Yeah. Yeah, and it made Loid a little bit paranoid. Like, oh my
He's
god,
like,
could he
"Wait a
see
minute."
through me?
No, of course not. Also, the fact that Loid was able to process, having to kiss Yor in 0.1 seconds. It's like, wow,
Yeah,
it's incredibly quick.
very good. Yeah. And then like the morning after, Anya's face when she found out that Yuri worked for the secret police,
Yeah.
and like there was like first like that big panel with her reaction was like and then like 3 smaller ones sort of following her, like, well, the follow up to her reaction was also really great, but like her initial reaction there is, at least so far, I think probably my favorite Anya face so far.
Yeah, there's so many good ones. But it is an emoji on our Discord.
It is.
So if you love that face, come visit our Discord and spam Anya face. We should. I would not mind having more Anya face, at least one or two more.
True, honestly, yeah, and like for example, like the one where she's trying to smile. It wasn't the first or second volume, probably second volume, right?
I think it's second volume. Yeah.
Yeah, when she's smiling to Damien.
Hey.
Yeah. We should have that one too.
Oh, this would be good. But there's also the one where she's in this volume where she was like, "Well, if I find the right person to read their minds, I'll ace the test." And
Oh yeah.
I don't know if I can't remember if she says hair or whatever, but that face was so good. It's like a like an easy peasy. It's like easy peasy kind of face.
Yeah. And at the moment, she felt like, oh my god, I'm thinking just like Papa, for a moment. But then,
Oh really?
I think so. This is like just how smart Papa is, or something like that, because she came up with that plan. But then she was actually smart enough after that to also understand that if she did that suddenly, then her grades would suddenly go from like 0 to 100, which would be suspicious. So I did appreciate that about her. Like, she was actually thinking about it.
That's true.
I also loved Anya's drawing of a cow. A beautiful cow.
Yeah, no, I mean, cows come in all shapes and sizes.
I suppose.
Going back to the volleyball game
Or the dodgeball game.
Is the line where the future is in my hands now. She's just like so caught up in the moment. Like it's like every young child's dream to be the hero, and making the moment much more epic than it really is. I love it. I mean,
yeah.
Again, those illusions of grandeur again.
Completely. And how she said, like, Damien, I will not let your death go in vain.
Yes!
Or whatever she said. Like,
he's like, I'm not dead.
Actually, her situation there reminded me actually like rather a lot of a situation I had back in like elementary or middle school or something like that, where we were playing dodgeball, and my team, like, I was really good at dodging. So I ended up being like the last one on my team on my side, and I was pretty good at dodging, but I couldn't throw for shit. Like, legitimately, like Anya there, like I just threw it like into the ground pretty much. Like it's honestly like surprisingly similar sort of to my situation back when I was in school. So obviously being able to only dodge didn't quite cut it, because eventually I was hit, but I could not hit anybody.
That's great. I Extra Mission 2 I thought was absolutely hilarious. It was really the icing on the cake for me in terms of comedy, because I thought this volume was just comedically hilarious throughout the whole thing.
It was
like, dying. Yours butt injury and just how she couldn't stand, and her face. She had a lot of good faces this volume too.
True, yeah.
Usually it's Anya who just carries the the facial expressions, but Anya or Yor was knocking them out of the park, or making some really good ones. And, I mean, to be fair, she was in a lot of pain during this one, so it's is it poor? Oh, sorry. I guess turn the other cheek or something like that. I don't know. There's a pun to be had there somewhere. But...
the other butt cheek.
Yeah. But oh man, I can't even imagine what getting shot in the butt would feel like, and being able to walk anyway. Yeah. So anyway, it's
owie.
Yeah, owie. In that chapter, she was thinking about the guy who's gonna poison Yor, and how it plays through it. So she was excited to see Yor potentially kick his butt, but then she's like, oh no, if Papa finds out, then he'll divorce her, and then he's like, I'm gonna abandon Anya too.
Yeah.
Also, let's abandon Anya. No.
Yeah, that was so great. Like, yeah. Like, this volume had several. Like, I mentioned the I guess the fantasy scenarios that Anya had about the world being saved, like on 2 occasions, and this was another one of her fantasies, which was also just hilarious to see. Obviously a different take on it, but also like to see her, well, where her mind goes when she just lets it wander.
Yeah. Well, and also what's super important to her. I mean, obviously, she doesn't want a new family, but to her, it all goes back to this. Like, she has to make sure they stay together, otherwise she has a fear of abandonment.
Yeah, true.
I just love how she says outing.
Oh yeah.
Oh, an outing?
Yeah, it's like she's Canadian or something.
An outing? Yes. Oh, and the Canadian's like, what are you talking about? She's saying it correct, eh? You hoser.
Yeah.
It's all you Americans who don't know how to speak correctly, eh?
Yes.
Anyway, not that you're American, Pedro, but it's me.
I don't know much about a Canadian accent except for their sometimes ows being oos.
Yeah.
But anyway, the last thing that I got on comedy here is when after Anya got the Stella Star and she asks for a dog. I love how Loid and Yor both had different images about dogs in their minds. Like,
yes.
Some pretty extreme types of dogs, and even when Anya suggests, or when she says that she wants a tiny, cute dog, in Yor's mind, it's like a cute, tiny dog with a knife. That really
like,
got me.
I don't know about that. Like,
that was probably one of my biggest laughs, honestly, in this book.
So great.
Although there were many.
Oh yeah, totally. My last one, I mean, that was my last one, but my second to last one is I could get peanuts. Like when Betty's like, oh, you get a reward, just anything your heart to do. I could get peanuts. So funny. She's so simple-minded when it comes to that.
Yeah, it's also funny. I also thought that was funny because first she thought of a castle, which obviously is unrealistic.
That was her second thought. That was her second thought.
Oh, was that her second thought?
Because she asks like Betty, I could get peanuts, and then she's like, no, you gotta think better than that, and then she thinks of a castle.
And then she asks for a year worth of peanuts.
Yeah.
Even after that, I think that's why I thought the castle was the first one. But anyway, I just thought it was funny because after that she also says like, oh my god, like asking for rewards or coming up with the rewards are hard. Like it's difficult, and I can totally relate to that. Or like even just like asking for anything, or like wishing for anything from
that's
others.
A good point.
It's something that I can definitely relate to. Like what's too much and what's too little. Like it's so hard to like find the balance there.
That's true.
Or like even to buy somebody a present. Like what should I get them? Like what's too much and what's too little. Anything between peanuts and a castle.
Yeah, there's nothing in between.
No.
I totally feel that now as an adult. For Christmas. Oh, what do you want for Christmas? I mean, I don't want you to. I mean, I could buy it for myself or something.
Yeah, right.
And some people are different. It's like, oh, sweet, you're gonna buy this for me, great. And there's nothing wrong with that, obviously, because the person is asking what you want for Christmas.
Right, for sure.
Or birthday or whatever. But it also extends to like work parties. Oh yeah, those are fun. But sometimes at work parties you'll have a kind of gift exchange thing. And being someone, I don't drink, and a lot of the people that I work with enjoy drinks, and a lot of people do. And so when they have these gift exchange, the ones that are usually highly praised are like these expensive liquors and stuff like that. And I don't know a thing about that. So I go to a work party, I'm just like, I got you this fancy smelling candles. It's like, oh yeah, geez, I can't get drunk off of this. So yeah, I'm very bad at figuring out gifts for other people, or at least people who don't share my same hobbies and interests. This was a long tangent that has really nothing to do with Anya's peanuts. But,
hey, I mean, I feel very similar to you, though, I will say.
Okay, I'm glad.
I can relate.
Maybe I'll just give him peanuts.
Yeah, honestly, just a year's worth of peanuts.
I'll be the talk of the office.
Yup. I guess that's it for the comedy, though. So let's move into the final bit of this discussion. Anything else that we've got, predictions, or anything else that's coming? Shoot.
What happens when Twilight completes his mission? Would he leave Anya and Yor? I think normally I'd say yes. He would. I think he'd just move on. But because this is a story and we're rooting for them to become a family, I
Yeah.
think the end goal is that he realizes he loves them and wants to stay with them in some capacity.
Mm.
Maybe not necessarily give up being a spy entirely, or maybe he does decide to do that. I don't know, but the reason why I started thinking about this is because Anya continually has ideas where she helps completes her papa's mission and
Mm.
saves the world. But I guess she hasn't realized that if he completes his mission, would that mean he gets rid of her?
Right.
And if it had happened within, the first few chapters of the story, I think easily he would have, just because that's
Right.
just who he is, and what his duty is. But yeah, so it just makes me wonder if that's going to be a conflict in the future. Like maybe the end game is not necessarily completing this mission, but what happens after that, and kind of the struggles
Oh.
they go through, especially Loid and Anya, and you could throw Yor in there as well, in
Yeah.
continuing on with this potentially continuing on with this family relationship, despite not having a secret purpose.
Dude, I had never really thought of it that way. I guess the way I always viewed this series was that it would basically cover the mission, sort of
Mm-hmm.
from beginning to end. And but however, with the end of the mission, there would be, I guess, a resolution that would indicate that they would stay together, or at least
Mm-hmm.
that's sort of been how I've in my mind
Right.
sort of envisioned that. But I'm completely down for your idea of essentially or potentially
Right.
for the mission ending before the series is over, and the story just continues with these three continuing on new endeavors. I think that would be also a lot of fun, and like, yeah, should be interesting as well.
I agree. The more we talk about it, I think that's actually what I prefer is that this mission does get complete, but maybe they literally become a spy family. Like they're both hired to be a spy, but maybe
Oh, they totally could.
maybe that loses its appeal a bit. But if the story has been
Hmm.
going on for a while, why not change it a little bit and
True, true.
go in that kind of direction? But anyway, um,
Mm.
I would be fine if the story ends with the mission ending and then there's a bit of a resolution. Oh, they decided to live together as a family. Big
Yeah.
hug.
And live
Um,
happily ever
ever
after.
after. Uh, I wouldn't mind that either for such a wholesome manga, but um,
Hmm.
it would be interesting to see the continuation after that and have it
Definitely.
go a little longer.
Yeah, I completely agree. Yeah. So, next up, would you like to talk a little bit about that fluffy white dog that we see at the last page of the last chapter of this book?
Let's do it. Lastly.
Yes. So, what are your thoughts
Oh yeah,
on
that's right.
that?
You've already read the the next volume, so you already know. So okay,
I know a little bit, but what do you think? Like, what do you think this dog got this attention? Why did it get like a whole page of focus?
well, besides the fact that I mean I think it's pretty clear this is, or maybe I'm wrong, but I think this is their next family member. Like this is the dog that they're gonna adopt or whatever, for
Mm-hmm.
however it goes. That's how I feel. Now I think there. It seems like every family member has some sort of secret within it. So I'm wondering if this dog has some sort of special powers or is more than meets the eye. But a couple thoughts I had was visions of the future because he has seems to have like kind of a blurry vision of the Forger family. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm not entirely sure if that's just foreshadowing of some sort, if the dog really saw that or not, but maybe that's something. Another one
Right.
is the one I thought of was super intelligence. Um,
Ooh.
maybe not to the point of talking, although maybe that's a thing. Um,
Yeah. Who knows?
but to the point of being able to communicate effectively with humans, because the two guys who are going into that kennel area, they mentioned that none of them look very smart or did they say intelligent? I can't remember, but it looks like they're trying to see if any of them are showing certain signs, and
Mm.
so I wonder if that was super intelligence.
Oh yeah. Right. Maybe. Yeah. Yeah. It should be interesting to learn more about that whole thing. Definitely. And I guess the only implication that I guess is very safe to assume, or at least I feel is pretty safe to see here, is
Hmm.
that it's pretty safely implied that this dog, because it's sleeping at first here in that scene, and then it wakes up, but before it wakes up it seems to be dreaming, and in that dream it sees the Forger family right there.
Oh,
At least
that's a good point. It's a
that's how I
dream.
interpret
Yeah,
that.
that's a good point.
But it's also strange, like why would it see them
Hmm.
in its dream, so that's, yeah, very interesting. Also interesting, I mean, you said potentially super intelligence and like, or like speech or something like that.
Hmm.
Not saying, obviously I'm not going to say anything, but regardless of whether it can speak or not, Anya, we've learned since the extra chapter of the previous one, she can read the minds of animals as well as humans.
Oh
So even if
yeah.
it can't talk, Anya should still be able to somehow get something from even a dog. So yeah, that should be interesting as well.
That should be pretty great. Like, it makes me wonder if they're gonna go to whatever pet shelter or whatever, and see the dogs, and she's gonna try to read all their minds and just try to find the perfect one.
Right.
Um,
She said she wanted a small dog though,
that's
and this one looks
true.
kind of large.
Yeah, it looks well. Yeah, it looks pretty big. It look honestly like it kind of reminds me like its size looks bearish. It's probably not as big as bear, obviously, but it looks kind of
Hmm.
like a bear. But then its paws, it's really okay. Kind of weird. We'll go with it. It looks like a raccoon's hands. I think it's because they're black for some reason.
I Yeah,
I don't
I
know.
see what you mean. Yeah, I sort of got like fox vibes from that, like the fact
Oh
that,
yeah,
but I
I
think
could see that.
it's similar probably. Like they have like a darker fur like on their
Hmm.
paws kind of, or like and up a
Hmm.
little bit on the legs.
Maybe it's part tanuki, which is not a raccoon apparently.
Oh yeah, what actually is a tanuki? Is it just a raccoon with large testicles, or
No, it's not even a raccoon, dude. It's
oh
and their testicles are not that big. It's
oh
it's a lie, the biggest lie ever.
is it? Oh, literally? Okay.
No, I mean the Tanuki in Japanese folklore, yeah, they they were packing down there, but
Yeah,
uh,
totally.
but the actual Tanuki, the actual raccoon dogs, are part of the canine family. Well,
Oh,
at least
huh.
a branch of the canine family. Like they're closer related to dogs than they are at all raccoons. Like not even the same
Interesting.
genus, I think, or family, or whatever. So
Huh.
yeah,
Cool.
it's quite interesting. I looked this up literally like last week.
Oh.
Not
Nice.
for
Good
this,
timing.
just read. Yeah, it was just good time. But it's definitely a dog, right? It's not like a hybrid of something, right?
uh,
It's a dog.
I feel like, yeah, I feel like it's probably just a dog. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't, or at least I don't see any reason to necessarily suspect anything else.
Hmm.
A white dog with black paws.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Anything else for predictions? I don't got anything.
No, I'm. Those are the only two predictions I have at this point. The story overall plot hasn't progressed incredibly, but Anya got her star, so that's a good
Yeah.
that's a good point. And they're gonna get a new family member, a dog, potentially this big white one.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, so there's definitely the plot is still moving, but um, this is one where we just got well, and we also learned about Yuri too. But
True.
yeah, this volume in general was just hilarious. Great characterization, establishing
Yeah.
some more characters, and yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think it's my favorite one so far. Just based
Awesome.
on the writing and just comedic timing in general. And
Hmm.
I'm really loving this series. I can see why it's highly praised.
Sweet. I'm really really happy to hear that. I feel like I've suggested yet again a good manga for us to read.
Ah,
uh,
yet again, you're right.
yes, I'm really really happy with that because yeah, if that hadn't been the case, I would have been. Yeah, I would have been a little bit disappointed in myself. But anyway, yeah, I'm really happy with that. And I definitely agree with you that obviously the comedy in this one was fantastic. Definitely comedy-wise, the best one so far. And also like we got a bit of the drama, with Twilight
Yeah.
starting to doubt Yor a bit and how she was feeling down about all that stuff that happened in this book. And it was definitely like for a lot of reasons this was a very strong volume, I think. So
For sure.
very excited for the next one. So well, with that all said, if you enjoy our content, you can follow us on Twitter at Umami Manga, and it would be lovely if you'd like to support us by either rating our shows on the podcast platforms or subscribing to our channel Umami Manga on YouTube. If you like this episode, please share it with anyone you think might enjoy it too. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time when we'll talk about Volume 4. Bye bye.
All your peanuts belong to us. See you later.
You have been Whoops. Oh my god, Shino, no.
Attack of the kitty cat.
She tried to jump onto my lap, but she fell off right away.
Oh.
Oh no.
I like how cats just play it off nonchalantly, though. Like, that never happened.
Right, yeah, totally. She just walks off like, nothing to see here. Just, it looked very clumsy. She's funny.